wonder if history repeats itself? I mean, perfectly? Today we're diving into a really intricate prophetic theory that says, yeah, it does. It lays out this hidden parallel between two massive historical ages, kind of like a prophetic echo, that, according to the author, maps out our past and future with some pretty stunning precision. And that's really the big question we're going to tackle together. Could one age in history really be a perfect blueprint, a shadow that predicts the substance of another? Now, that's a bold claim for sure, and the evidence put forward to back it up is, well, it's fascinating. So let's dig in. Here's how we're going to piece this whole puzzle together. First, we'll get a handle on this core idea of the two ages. Then we'll look at the two groups of people who are at the very heart of this story. After that, we'll unpack the double prophecy. This is the key that supposedly unlocks the whole timeline. From there, we're going to run the numbers, and finally, we'll see how the endings of these two ages are said to be perfect, mirrored reflections of each other. All right, let's get right into it. The entire theory, everything we're about to talk about, it all rests on this one foundational concept, the idea of types and antitypes. So this whole idea is built on something the author calls dispensations. Just think of them as distinct chapters in one grand story, each with its own set of rules and its own unique purpose. And this slide right here gets to the absolute heart of the argument. The author suggests that the entire Jewish age was what's called a type, basically a shadow. It was meticulously designed to prefigure the Christian gospel age, which is the antitype, or the real substance that the shadow was pointing towards this whole time. So let's go to our next building block, because this type and antitype logic isn't just about time periods. It also applies to the people involved, these two distinct groups at the center of this whole cosmic drama. This theory really doubles down on the parallelism. It makes a big distinction between what it calls fleshly Israel, that's the literal nation seen as a house of servants, and spiritual Israel, which represents the Christian church, a house of sons. And the text argues that there's this great reversal of destiny, where the group that was first in line for divine favor would end up becoming last, and the last would become first. So you're probably thinking, how could we possibly know that these timelines are parallel? Well, this is where it gets really, really specific. The author points to a key prophetic concept from the scriptures that they call the double. And this is the linchpin for the whole theory. The first piece of evidence is pulled from the prophet Jeremiah. Now, the author interprets this verse to mean that Israel would get a period of God's disfavor that was exactly equal in length to the time of favor that came before it, a perfect one-to-one duplication. Okay, but when did this double period of disfavor actually begin? For that, the author turns to Zechariah's prophecy. This verse is interpreted as pinpointing the exact start date, the very day Christ presented himself as king in Jerusalem and was rejected. And to tie it all together, the author points to the prophet Isaiah. This verse is seen as being spoken from the future, looking back, and it's said to declare the double period officially finished. So according to this theory, you've got three key prophecies, one for the concept, one for the start date, and one for the end date. Now, with this whole concept of a double established, the author doesn't just leave it as a metaphor. No. Instead, they build this incredibly detailed mathematical timeline, basically turning these prophecies into a precise prophetic clock. So how in the world do they get a specific number? Well, this slide breaks down the calculation. The author starts from the death of Jacob, which they see as the real beginning of Israel's national identity. From there, they just add up all of the different eras from biblical chronology. You got the Exodus, the time of the judges and kings, and so on, all the way up to the crucifixion in AD 33. When they sum up all of these periods, the result is a total period of divine favor lasting exactly 1845 years. So this leads us to a simple but pretty powerful equation. The theory takes the end of that period of favor, the year AD 33, and then adds the double, that identical span of 1845 years, which is argued to be the prophesied time of disfavor. And the answer that this equation spits out is the year 1878. According to the author, this isn't just some random date. It's the precise year that the double period of disfavor was completed, and when divine favor was scheduled to start its return to Israel. This timeline here just visualizes the entire system that the text lays out, and you can see it's a structure of perfect symmetry. Two identical 1845-year periods, one of favor and one of disfavor, and they both pivot on that crucial year of AD 33.
But get this, the parallels don't even stop there. The author argues that the endings of each age, what they call the harvest, are also precise mirrors of each other. This adds another layer of incredible detail to this whole prophetic model.
So here, the theory proposes another parallel. Just like the Jewish age ended with a 40-year harvest period to separate believers, the gospel age is said to have its own parallel harvest. The first harvest sorted the wheat from the chaff in ancient Israel. The second one, according to the author, was predicted to do the same thing for the Christian world during a 40-year period from 1874 to 1914. And here's one final layer to this whole parallel. The author points out that the 37-year period of Israel's gradual fall from favor, which started in AD 33, is perfectly mirrored. It's matched by a 37-year period of its prophesied gradual rise from 1878 to 1915. The argument is that the time it took to fall is identical to the time it takes to rise.
And so we're left not with a simple answer, but with a pretty profound question. What does it all mean when you build a vision of history that is this detailed, this symmetrical, and this mathematically precise? Whether you see it as proof of some divine plan or as a testament to our human search for order in chaos, it's a truly fascinating look at the patterns we find in the grand sweep of time. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.